And next, a hard-lived life amid the sound, success, and sorrow of rock and roll.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
From the bench behind his Hammond B3 organ, Gregg Allman has been belting out the rock and roll blues for more than 40 years.
Wake up, mama. Turn your lamp down low.
The band he co-founded with his late brother Duane, the Allman Brothers, is one of the most renowned in rock history, famed for its hard-driving live performances
Woman, you've got to
and hits like Ramblin' Man
Lord, I was born a rambling man
and Melissa.
without Melissa.
Beginning in the late 60s, the band grabbed audiences with a sound that brought together the Southern blues and electrified rock and roll that Gregg and Duane Allman had embraced.
It was our two loves of music. He sort of leaned toward the country blues, which is unelectrified, like Robert Johnson, Elmore James. And I was really into Bobby Bland, James Brown, you know, people like Curtis Mayfield.
Now Gregg Allman has told of the musical voyage and a life of triumph and a great deal of travail in his new memoir, My Cross to Bear. Allman was born in Nashville in 1947, a year and 18 days after his brother Duane. When he was just 2, his father, who'd fought at Normandy, was shot dead by a hitchhiker while on home leave from Korea. As youngsters, the boys were sent to military school while their mother finished her degree. They all eventually moved to Florida. It was one night in 1960, Allman says, that changed everything. You went to a concert and you heard Otis Redding and others play. What did you hear? What changed? What happened?
It was one of those reviews that they don't have anymore. And Otis took it, by the way. I mean, he would run back and forth across this just quarter-mile long stage, man. And he was about 7'2", you know, and I mean, he was built, and my brother, I remember him going, you know, like, hey, man, his jaw's open, you know, and I caught his open. He says, man, and the music was going, and he says, like, something like, I've got to have me some of this, you know.
There was, however, a realistic streak in young Gregg Allman. He writes that he'd actually intended to go to college and medical school.
I mean, no pun, but everybody and their brother had a damn rock and roll band.
Mm-hmm. So you're looking around saying,
I am, yeah.
We're not going to make it here.
We're not going to make rent doing this. Mm-hmm. So my brother says, but no, man, we're going to be the best. We're going to be number one.
There would be several intervening years and bands with names like the Hourglass, even one called the Allman Joys.
I didn't name the band. I did not have anything to do with that.
It was Duane who gained fame first, an astounding lead guitarist who played on famous recordings by Aretha Franklin and other stars. Years later, he would be named the second greatest rock guitarist of all time by Rolling Stone magazine, just behind Jimi Hendrix, ahead of B.B. King and Eric Clapton. What did he have? I mean, what made him different?
Oh, man, it was there from start. I mean, he had this, like, it was like some kind of a thread woven in to what came out of his guitar. But it made all the riffs like a continuous story.
The Allman Brothers Band came together and brought out its self-titled debut in 1969. They were seen as leaders in a new style of Southern rock, a tag Allman never liked.
Rock and roll was born in the South, man. It's like saying rock.
You mean it was born from bringing together that...
Four kings of rock and roll, 2 white, 2 black. Elvis Aaron Presley, Tupelo, Mississippi. Jerry Lee Lewis, Faraday, Louisiana. Little Richard Penniman, Macon, Georgia. Chuck Berry, St. Louis, Missouri.
In 1971, the Allmans recorded what's widely considered the finest live album ever made at Fillmore East. It would be their ticket to stardom. But just 3 months after its release, Duane Allman was killed in a motorcycle crash in their adopted home of Macon, Georgia.
Well, my brother died, and then it just started raining money. And at first, you know, I screamed and yelled and shook my fist at the sky and yelled, "Short change."
The band members debated whether to continue.
I told them, I said, we're going to either wind up a bunch of street junkies, or we can forget all that crap and go back to business as usual. That was pretty much a landslide. Well, it was. Yeah.
Decision to just do it.
Well, after hearing what's the alternative, you know.
But there was still more tragedy on the way. A year later, bassist Berry Oakley died in an eerily similar motorcycle accident near the spot where Duane was killed. And all that raining money led to a torrent of problems for the band and Gregg Allman in particular through the 70s and beyond. Alcohol abuse, drug addiction, broken marriages, most famously to Cher. Interestingly, this man who's lived life so loudly and publicly sees himself as quite the opposite. You write about yourself, and even talking to you here, almost you're a shy person.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
That's right.
And yet you get up on stage and you perform for thousands, hundreds of thousands of people.
If I had really looked out there and just scanned them, you know, I'd probably go running off the stage, man. Now, if I gave it serious thought, you know, I probably would just poof, disappear.
Gregg Allman is now 64 and sober 17 years. He was granted a new lease on life after a liver transplant 2 years ago. And he and the band, including the two original drummers, are still on the road all these years later.
Don't let 'em catch me